Okay, this is our third room, the decision. This represents the emergence of an immature ego structure. What has happened is, as our cities and beginnings of socialization and traditions and ritual get higher and higher levels of organization, the walls of our empires expand and expand, and we are able to feel confident venturing out further and further from our localized center points. And all of a sudden we come upon a whole other tribe of little brown people over here, and green people over here, and blue people over here, and red people over here, and some are tall and some are little, and some have different sets of gods, some have different law systems, so they all have completely different traditions, their cities all look completely different. Well, oh my gosh, I thought my whole, four walls was my world. I thought my God was my world. Well, if all these people have all these different things, well, which one's right? Which ones should be adhered to? Wait a minute, that makes you have to question your own beliefs, your own systems of organization. That very questioning creates the emergence of the ego structure. It makes it so that I have to think for myself and determine my own destiny on a higher level than I had at the group soul level. So, being the immature version of the ego structure emerging, the answer, for good or for bad, of all these questions, because survival is still so raw and on the edge, is mine, because I have the sword. My God is right. My laws are right. I have the bigger army. That's what we're going to do. Because I, now that I'm thinking for myself, am going to guarantee my survival. So it's a very greedy grab sort of culture. It gets very excessive, very Caligula, hedonistic sort of in a certain way, but it's all based off of like kind of a dominance and control that we're trying to gain over ourselves, but we basically extrovert it and get it so out that we just control our environment and each other. The reason you can do this and have such a greedy philosophy and it work, it doesn't ultimately work, but it works to get us through this stage, because at this point we don't realize that the earth is a finite resource. I can burn down that whole woods. There's woods everywhere. I can kill that whole race of people. There's people everywhere. Who cares? You know what I mean? I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna guarantee my survival. Material things like money, we're starting to once again lose another layer of that freedom and that connection to spirit. We're getting more material. We're getting more constrained. So now we don't have one leader who's God talking to us. We're a little further away from God. We have a politician. We have someone who for the first time is just a person and has to take into account the dictates of the republic and the governmental and the scholarly and also the esoteric and the metaphysical things. It's got to weigh all these things now. It's no longer just one divinely born messenger of divinity. It is the divinity that starts to emerge is this almost Melrose Place style, sort of human characteristics enter the gods, and we have like Zeus and Aphrodite, this sensuality and this sort of backstabbing and treachery and betrayal and these things that the gods never did before. It was just one God, omnipotent, all-knowing, and now you can consult the gods, but then you're questioning the gods as well for the first time. So you don't have great advancements in things like science and philosophy, and all these things start to emerge at this time period because those questions of these systems lead to advancements, like really an incredible increase in advancements at this time period. But for example, like this emperor is obviously of this Greek-Roman sort of god religious system, and then there's someone that has a completely different culture, that has a completely different even symbol of ideology and what is divine, and he is basically deciding the fate. It's a very violent sort of conform to what I say, my ego structure, my way, or die. And like I said, we can get away with it because we're just, still not super powerful technologically, but this is where we're starting to destroy things more and more, kill people more and more at a more alarming rate than has ever existed on the planet. So there's all these developments that are of the good, of the mind's ability to understand the world, but we're gaining a lot more material and a lot more constraint. Eventually leads to that domination and that just consume and control leads to the advent of modern society, where we are now in room number 4. So let's head over there.